I've been thinking about what's going on in America. I've never really followed politics. I've never really been interested. I've never really known much about politics and who's right and who's wrong and what it all means. I've really not taken much interest in my life about it. But that's changed actually since I've been using ChatGPT, because I've had a lot of questions and I've been getting insights, learning as much as I can. And what's happened with Trump and Vance and their total disrespect for President Zelensky, their slamming of Europe and the UK, putting tariffs on long-term allies like Canada. I've got really angry over the whole thing and also really upset. It's actually upset me a lot, more than I even thought it would. Obviously, I love my country, so any kind of disrespect is going to cause a reaction. But I've really woken up. I've woken up. And this has been a long time coming, actually. I love America. The American people, are mostly, loving people. And I think a lot of people, even the people who voted Trump, didn't expect this. And the American people, I think, are having a bit of a wake up themselves. But I think Europe is finally waking up. And I'm really exasperated myself. I do think, even though the way things happened was utterly disrespectful, J.D. Vance, I loathe that man. He is vile. He is a vile man. Loathe is the wrong word, just because I almost just have no emotion towards him. He is utterly vile. But the way he's not wrong in the sense that Europe needs to step up and catch up, and Europe needs to defend itself. Europe, and I include the UK, because we seem to kind of straddle both sides. We're never quite sure which side we're on. Not that it should be sides. I think that's the whole point. It shouldn't be sides. Europe, including the UK and the US, should be on the same side. But there has always been differences, and I think with Trump being who he is, he doesn't want to keep paying for Europe's support anymore. And I do think that there is truth to that. Europe is asleep. It is asleep. It is so slow. It is such a, I don't know what they do. And I include the UK. We're slightly ahead, but we do not plan or think long term. It's just 3, 4, 5 years at a time, if that. Just thinking that we can just rely on the US for our technology, for our security, and the EU does not work in the current form. You cannot have 27 head chefs in a kitchen. It just does not work, and it is such a, I don't know what the word is, but they are 50 years behind. 50 years behind everything. They're just so slow. So I think this is the wake up. I actually think this is such a good thing to have happened the way it is, because it just shows America has really, really lost who they are. They've lost sight of what is right and wrong. And under this administration, they have become mercenaries. They are mercenaries. They are just extorting a country who find they have resources that they haven't used yet in rare earth. They haven't mined, so they have untapped resources, but by all means they don't have money, a lot of money, at least not yet. And Trump is being mercenary. That is just who he is. It makes no difference to him if it's a business deal for you know, a new, you know, for somebody wanting money for a business, or if a country is groveling to help win a war against Russia. I cannot fathom the appalling nature of that man. America has lost all respect. There is no allies. There is no special relationship. It's all transactional. And actually, I was looking back, and Trump is obviously who he is. But I think looking back, even the American presidents have not really valued Europe or the UK much. Biden, obviously, you know, he's very Irish, so I think he had a lot of animosity towards England. Even Obama wasn't particularly bothered. This American arrogance, and now behaving like bullies, which I think you have been for a long time, thinking you're at the top of the food chain, thinking that there is only one country and it's America, and everybody else is beneath you. You know, I think this is such a wake-up call. Canada, Australia, the whole EU, the UK, Japan, Mexico, everybody else, Norway, whoever's not China, Russia, or the US. We're going to be together now. And I think this is going to be the coming of Europe. And I say Europe, but I mean the countries that I've just mentioned. Maybe we need a new word, because it's going to be the greatest alliance. America will not be invited. I do think any Americans who are living in America and don't want to be part of Trump, you know, move to the UK. Especially if you're in technology, AI, or anything else, just move to the UK, because it's gonna be so great. And I don't think we should be buying any American military tech anymore. You know, we should be Europe focused. We're building technology, the new jets with Japan, and I think we should build a lot more technology that is European focused. The French got it right. I mean, I didn't, you know, the French, we've always got, you know, a tit for tat with France, but they did it right. They built their own nuclear weapons. They built their own jets. They built their own, you know, military, their own ships, so that they are completely independent. We are so entwined with the US, which is ridiculous. So I think this is a huge wake-up call. I think America has utterly ruined its place. I think America has ruined all respect. That reporter who utterly humiliated President Zelensky on whether he was wearing a suit, he is another vile, vile man. President Zelensky, I think they were saying because he's there for a deal. He was there for a deal, so therefore he's asking for money. So he should be there like he's going to the bank, like it's a business deal. Because he's the president and it's in the White House. 100% that is true. If it was after the war with Ukraine had won, after there was peace, and President Zelensky was going to the US to talk about a deal to help repay some of the money and to build a partnership going forward, not whilst his citizens are being blown up or shot and killed during the war. That vile reporter is the epitome of the type of American that the world does not like. Thankfully, most Americans are beautiful people, even no matter which side you're on, Republican, Democrat. It really is about morality, and that guy sunk to the lowest I could think. He's not Trump. Everybody knows what Trump's like. He decided that humiliating on live television a president of a country at war with Russia was more important, and I'm utterly disgusted by that. But I think this is actually a wake-up. Canada, right next to America, they don't want to be the 51st state. Greenland is not for sale. Mexico is not for sale. You can't just buy stuff, buy other countries like they mean nothing. And for J.D. Vance to just say that some of these countries, he said, what did he say? He said, some middle of nowhere country, 20,000 troops from a middle of nowhere country who hasn't fought a war in 40 years. And what they would contribute would be meaningless. So he's defended that he wasn't talking about the UK or France, and yet only the UK and France have committed to saying we're going to put 20,000 troops. So if he wasn't, then I think he's backtracked on that a little bit. But for any country on the right side of a war, a small country, doesn't matter how small, if they turn up in a tinfoil hat with spoons to fight Russia, and that's all they have, and their people are dying, whether they're from any small European country, to slam them or anyone for any contribution towards ending tyranny is the most arrogant, deplorable, disgusting thing I've ever heard. If you are contributing with your citizens' lives, you should get respect. I'm actually so angry, but I think I'm even more sad. I'm actually really sad about what has happened to America. But I actually think everything happens for a reason. And I think even though through the sadness, this is going to be the greatest thing for every other nation, the UK, Europe, Canada, Australia, Japan, the US keeps wanting to be America first. America first would mean America alone. I don't think you will ever get the UK or any nation to fight alongside you ever again. But of course, I love and respect the American military who have fought for, freedom against tyranny, and anyone who has served or lost their lives deserves all the respect. But you will be on your own. You will be on your own. There is no more special relationship. There is no more allies. Allies doesn't mean anything to America anymore. It just means transaction. It just means how much money can we extort. If we're not getting paid, we're not interested. And also, Elon, go back to space rockets, go back to building, cars, or changing the world with your ideas for transportation, for getting humanity to the next level, if that's Mars. But we don't want your repulsive views, toxic views. Hurry up and go to Mars if that's what you're going to do. I used to respect you as a sort of a, entrepreneur, scientist, inventor, creator. The world needs people like that. But this arrogance, again, mercenary type of view of to kind of just only making yourself more wealthy, disrespecting presidents who are at war. You are disgusting. Go back to just running your companies. We don't need X. We don't need Tesla cars. Europe, Canada, everybody else will work absolutely just fine without these things. Yeah, so I'm just going to repeat, if any Americans, I've met very many lovely Americans. I love seeing American tourists in London. You're always welcome, as long as you didn't vote for Trump. Or if you did vote for Trump and you regret it, then maybe you're welcome too. But I think this is the beginning of the end, which I think ultimately I'm happy about, because I've never liked bullies. I don't like bullies. In America, the time of you bullying, dictating, thinking everybody should just follow what you say, well, that time's over. That time is over. So yeah, it's very interesting times. I do think it's served its purpose. I hope Europe cuts a lot of the bureaucracy, wakes up and starts taking charge of itself. But I will also just, I know this has been a bit of a rambling video. I'm just sort of bouncing between points. The UK, I believe, needs to have a written constitution in the way that America does. I do think the right to free speech, we have lost our way. So I think the approach that J.D. Vance took was appalling. To come to another country and just slam everything about them was just utterly disrespectful. But we have also lost our way in what is acceptable for our citizens in terms of free speech. And we've got, teenagers stabbing and killing other teenagers, but we are policing, people protesting, civilized protesting, or something that they wrote on Facebook. And that is, well, to be honest, it's just typical UK. We do go for the easy. We go for easy and cheap. And policing violent crime costs a lot more money than policing Twitter posts. So I do believe we should have a written constitution in this country that protects proper free speech, except obviously hate speech, and but I think that should be something we should definitely have. So that's kind of all I wanted to say. Yeah, I don't know how to end the video. I'm just gonna say that's all I gotta say, but I hope our politicians wake up and stop fawning, kowtowing, and groveling to America, because that time is over. There is a point where enough is enough, and if the UK has to go back to 1980 because we just boot out the American technology or relationship, then that's, I think, what we have to do, because I don't respect bullies, and I don't respect utter disrespect, and we just have to put up with it at any cost. So I love America, I love American people, unless you voted for Trump, because I do not think anyone it's sort of like Brexit. A lot of people voted for Brexit and then immediately regretted it. We didn't kind of know what we were going to get, and potentially you didn't quite know you were going to get with Trump. But in 6 weeks, he's utterly ruined your whole reputation. So hopefully you might be thinking twice about that. But yeah, anyway, that's it.